Hi, welcome to Heidi's cookbook review and cooking. My first video is actually just going to be on a apple crumble with pear and all different types of apples. So I'm actually going to use pink ladies, the green Granny Smiths and some normal pears. And I'm just going to do like everyone sort of really likes the crumble I do on the top, which is quite sweet and crunchy, not doughy and yuck. So I'll just show you how to do it. And of course I have to do my apron. The master chef. Because I love to make a mess. Anyway. Here we go. First of all, you just got to peel all your apples and your pears and stuff. This is enough here to make at least two. But I'm going to do one big one if I can manage to do that. Because I have a big family. So first you just peel obviously your fruit, what you want. You can do whatever you want. You can actually even use rhubarb, which is really, really nice in its season at the moment, quite costly. But I won't be using rhubarb, I'll just be using apples and pears because I managed to score a cheap bag at the veggie shop. And so that's what I'm going to do. So wasting the fruit, we'll be making apple crumble. You can use anything, it doesn't have to be perfect fruit, you can have bruises on it because all you're going to do is be stewing them then to make the apple pie. So I'll just start peeling them now, and when I've peeled them I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, here you have all your peeled apples and pears, and now I'm just going to slice them up into pieces, removing all the cores and any other skin that might have been still left on there. And I'll place them into a saucepan with a bit of water and sugar and a pinch of cinnamon, and stew them so that they look nicely presented in the plate, which I'll then show you how to put the crumbs on the top to make your apple crumble. I'm just going to cut them up into nice even slices, you know, so they cook at the same time. There's your slices there. Just put some up here so I can zoom in on that later. And then there's your apple. This is your green Granny Smith. This again, out to the chooks. So I have Granny Smiths in my choice here. They're always great for apple pies and crumbles. Especially apple pies, you use a Granny Smith, it seems a lot sweeter. I'm using the pink lady because that's a mix of a Granny Smith and a red apple, so don't ask me which one, but it's something I have to learn, I guess. So here's what the apples look like. So now what I'm going to do is put them into a saucepan of boiling water with some sugar and cinnamon, and it's up to you how much sugar and how much cinnamon you want. I wouldn't go crazy with the cinnamon, but sugar to your liking. Some people might not even want sugar in it. You don't have to have sugar in it. You can just have it in your flour mix that goes on the top, which you're going to have anyway, and that could be just it. So you'll have the natural apple with a kick of sugar in the biscuit, which will pretty much be what you'll have on the top there. So now I'm just going to put those into some hot water, and it doesn't cover them, it's just enough to sort of steam them and give them a bit of moisture in there so that it's not all dried out, because you're going to have to put this all into the oven in the end. Okay, I've got my apples now on the boil there. I've got like 1/3 of that is water, and the apples actually come right up to the top there in the saucepan. Yep, see, you can see it just sitting up there. So I just put the lid on it, and I'll just let them start to boil in there. So you can see I've got quite a lot in the pot. So for this amount I would definitely put a teaspoon of cinnamon, and that's just your normal kissing of a teaspoon of cinnamon. So like that. And for sugar, I think for my liking, I think about 4 tablespoons of sugar for that. That's 1. 2, 3, 4. There you go. So what you're going to do is mix the sugar and the cinnamon into the apple and the pear. And coat them all with that. So it goes into the water as well. Make sure it's nicely stirred in. Checking on the temperature. Okay, because of the size of the amount of apples I've got, so I can easily make 2 apple crumbles, which will serve a family of 6 for 2 nights. And there's the 2 size pans I'm going to use for my apple crumble. Okay, so I'm going to use at least 4 cups of plain flour, about 1.5 cups of normal white sugar, and about 250 grams of butter, and if I need to add more than that, I'll let you know. As you can see, my apples are starting to cook a bit more, and they've actually shrunk now into the fluid, which is now was 1/4 of the pot, is now nearly half the pot in fluid, so I might actually have to remove some of the juice when I finish with this, but don't drain out too much. I've done that too, and you end up with a right up old piece of apple crumble. So there you go, look at that. You can see the cinnamon and apple in that. Yummo. And that's still going. So I'm going to sift the flour into here. Just eliminates any lumps you might have in your flour. Or weevils. I'm joking. Not really. So just like little rock bits there, I'm not going to keep that. 1.5 cups of sugar. I'm just going to stir that in together. So just stir the flour and the sugar together. Okay, my apples are just how I want them, sort of soft but not too soft. I'm just going to let them soak in the juice for a while and absorb some of that in there. And I'm just going to get the butter, the 250 grams of butter, which is kind of soft, but you don't want it to be hideously soft because you're going to use this. And you're just going to get your fingers, clean hands, and you're going to squish it like this and flake it out like that with your hands. So you get your hand in there and push it through. So I'm going to keep doing this for a while. As you can see, just push the butter through the flour. So you've got 4 cups of plain sifted flour, 1.5 cups of white sugar. You can also, if you want, use raw sugar. And just keep doing that. Pressing it like into the thing, so you've got like little flour turds, breaking them up. Now, as you can see, if your flour looks like this, when you break it, there's no definite lumps, it's just like this, then you need more butter. There has to be big clumps, or it just tastes like powder in your mouth, you know? Okay, I've got 250 grams of butter, plus you can also, if you think it's not at this consistency where you can squish it, break it, and the chunks are nice and big, then, you know, up to another 50 grams would be fine, you know. It doesn't really hurt it, because it's not overly wet. So what you do when you're putting the topping on the apple crumble, you do it like this, and you just break it like that. And some pieces will be like this big on it, and that big. You know, you don't want little fine ones. You're going to get fine ones anyway, but when you break it, it'll have that nice crumbly effect, which is really the squish, press, and that's how it should be, not powdery. So everything should be that way, everywhere. So it's not wet, it's not dry, it's kind of damp.